Curry is the villain in a film, then just shut up. Just stop talking. No, stop talking. I want it. Put it in my eyeballs. The film. Good. Go.
Snap of my fingers, and you could be back on the block where I found you.
And Rebecca de Mornay.
And with a flick of my wrist, I could change your religion.
The Three Musketeers.
Yes, there have been other adaptions, and some of them have even been lauded for not being goofy 90s trash. But if you don't think some stories are ripe for being goofy 90s trash, then you've never read The Three Musketeers. I've never read The Three Musketeers either, that's a bad example. Look, it's the perfect type of story to do this kind of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves-esque vibe. Just big, sweeping, orchestral, silly 90s scores, and crazy villains that are just absolutely mental, and you're like, come on, everybody should know that they're plotting against their king. It's always plotting against their king. Anyway, and there's always, like, these heroes that are perfect heroes, and they exemplify all the perfect things about heroism, even though they're usually drunks and womanizers, and yeah. The Three Musketeers stars Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Platt, Charlie Sheen, Chris O'Donnell, Tim Curry. Basically a who's who of 90 guys that would have substance abuse problems in the future. I'm kidding. Only about 60% of them. So D'Artagnan is a young man who wants to go to Paris and join the Musketeers, but they've just literally now been disbanded by Tim Curry's cardinal. That is rough timing for him, really. Like, seriously. And he instead joins up accidentally after challenging all of the remaining Three Musketeers that are loose to a duel to go off on an adventure to try and save France from Tim Curry's just Cheshire Cat smiling cardinal. Like, how does that man do that? That is so expressive and so incredible. It's just, Tim Curry is a marvel, and we don't deserve him. There are some films that feel very specifically 60s, like they have to be filmed from the 1960s. And this is the same thing, but for the 90s. There are a few of these, and the style of them is just unmistakably 90s. It's got like heartbreak and dramatic moments that they were really starting to introduce more properly into big action films like this, but it's still got the cheesiness, the goofiness, the big score, the heroic heroes who are all haha perfect, and the women who fall in love with them after only meeting them for a minute or two. It's silly in all of the best ways. And maybe it is just because I grew up with these kind of things. These kind of films, because I was born in the 90s. I wasn't really watching these type of films in the 90s, and I've never seen this one before. I was blown away by this in just the perfect way. I love how delightfully unhinged Tim Curry is in this. I think it's the best work I've seen from Chris O'Donnell. He works surprisingly well in that role. I think Charlie Sheen as a devoutly religious man who's still a womanizer is bizarrely perfect. And we've been missing out all these years on Oliver Platt as a pirate. That is glorious. There's just everything as here. It kind of works in to its advantage in a way that you shouldn't be able to. It's not a perfect film. It's not a masterpiece, but it's just so unreasonably fun that I can't quite get over. And I have to love it more than I feel like it deserves, because it's just so lovable. And that kind of sums up like Tim Curry and the 90s and action movies from that time, and a lot of just swashbuckling style films as well. It just works. It's the kind of, it's a blending of like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, The Princess Bride, and Pirates of the Caribbean. How does that work? How does it fill all those things in? I don't know, but it's ridiculously fun. The funny thing about this is it was clearly like family/kid oriented to a degree. Like, it is a PG made film. There's lots of silliness that kind of fits that style and vibe. But it's also got a huge, unreasonable volume of sexual innuendos, cleavage shots, and literal lessons about how to seduce women, which just would be so brutally called out if this was released today as a film more directed at families and kids. It probably was at the time as well, which is why this hasn't become the unreasonably great success that it deserves to be. I just love it so much. It is quintessentially 90s, to the degree that if you couldn't tell already pretty clearly that it was in the 90s, the Bryan Adams credit song will set you right. Yeah. I'm giving specifically Tim Curry's sassy cape swishes, which were just unreasonably amazing, 4.5 stars. Come on, they don't make them like this anymore. And I think that's part of the reason we're not getting these quintessential, perfect adaptions of these old stories as much anymore, which is a shame. Also, cleavage shots for family movies. Huzzah! Maybe not. Maybe not, actually, yeah. Subscribe for more hard truths.